Hey everyone, how's it going? It is day 28 of Darren LaCroix's 90-day Facebook Live Challenge. And I am on my way back home tonight from practice for a storytelling show that I am part of on Thursday. So my question for you tonight is pretty simple. How comfortable are you at telling stories that teach but don't preach? And here's what I mean by teach but don't preach. Have you ever gone and listened to somebody speak, and the first half of their story was an inspiring story, anecdote-driven message about something that happened to them, and then they wind it back around with a heavy-handed preaching, here's what you should learn from the story I just told you. Have you ever heard that type of a delivery? Because it's very common. I've heard it rather frequently over the course of the past few years. The greatest stories that we can tell are, one, they're very personal. They are the stories of our life, of our experience, of our learnings, but they're told in a way that give other people an opportunity to learn from our experiences and from our journey, but we don't necessarily have to heavy-handedly tell them, this is what you're supposed to learn. That when I tell you this, you should learn this. The best stories are the ones that as you tell your anecdotes and your stories, the people that are listening to you and the people that are watching you walk away having understood something that was personal to them, but may or may not be the message that you were intending to share in the first place. You might have told a story. I'm going to tell a story on Thursday about how Kelly and I have moved 30 times roughly, and I've moved 42 times in the course of my life. Yes, 42 times. That is actually the correct number for how many times I have moved. And I'm telling the story about how moving became kind of just a normal thing in my life and how it became very much an accepted way of life for Kelly and I, really based on the concept of life as an adventure. Let's just say yes and go try stuff. And that's how she and I live our life a lot. We are open for the adventure, whatever that may bring, and we're open to whatever types of opportunities and adventures are out there. We just say yes to them. So the story I'm telling on Thursday is about kind of how that has transpired, some examples of where that has transpired, but not necessarily the what you're supposed to learn from it. So as you walk away, you might learn and apply to your own life that you need to be more open. Some people might learn that maybe you need to be more structured. Some people may learn that you want to say yes more often. Some people may learn that here today, gone tomorrow. There's a bunch of different things that you can take from the story that I'm going to tell, but it doesn't have to be the same thing for everybody. And in practicing the story I'm going to tell, it's the second time I've gone to the workshops now to get ready for the storytelling concert on Thursday. And in telling the stories these past couple of times, I've refined them in a way that they are more story-driven, they're anecdote-driven, and they don't heavy-handedly tell you something that you're supposed to learn. But we all have these great stories in our life about things that we've done, things that we want to do, experiences that we've had that have made us who we are today, and other people can learn from our experiences. We just have to be willing to share them, and share them in a way that doesn't heavy-handedly preach to someone that this is what you're supposed to take away. But rather, here's my experience, here's how it's helped me, and I hope that it can help you in some way too. So I would encourage you, get comfortable with telling your personal story in a way that's going to connect with audiences, that's going to teach a message, but isn't going to preach what someone's supposed to know. Because everybody can listen with their own open ears, with their own minds, and hopefully you can learn something from the story. And I see Kim is on here, I haven't talked to in a long time. And of course, Ron Torrance is here sitting in Florida in front of a fire. And his story is about one of the most crazy stories I've ever heard of someone giving up a life in California for love in Erie, Pennsylvania. There's a lot of great story behind that, Ron, that would be a great story for you to tell someday. But learn how to tell your story with being more of a teacher and less of a preacher, and you'll find you get a much bigger audience, and you'll find that you get a much better reaction from those people who listen to your story. So until tomorrow, my friends, I'll talk to you later.